Congratulations. If these words have reached you before the 23rd of September, then you must know it is not by accident. In life, nothing truly important comes by coincidence. When you receive a message at the right time, it is because life itself has placed it on your path. September is not just a date on the calendar, it is a mirror of your awareness. And if you are here, listening, it means you are ready for a shift. But before you step into this transformation, I want to share with you 4 key lessons that can shape your destiny. Awareness is the beginning of all transformation. When we speak about awareness, it may sound simple, but it is in truth the foundation of everything you are seeking. Without awareness, you can walk through your entire life asleep, repeating the same habits, facing the same obstacles, and wondering why nothing ever changes. Many people believe that life is something happening to them, something outside of their control. But the truth is, life is responding to your awareness. If you do not see clearly, you cannot act wisely. If you do not recognize where you are, how can you ever decide where you want to go? Awareness is the light that reveals the path, and without it, you remain in darkness no matter how hard you try to run. Most of the struggles people face are not because they are weak, but because they are blind. Blind to their habits, blind to their thoughts, blind to the way they speak to themselves every single day. You may say you want success, but if you are not aware of the inner voice that constantly whispers, "You are not good enough," then no amount of external effort can break through. Awareness is the first step to liberation, because once you see the pattern, you can no longer be trapped by it unconsciously. You may still fall, but at least you know why you fall, and the moment you know, the power begins to shift. To cultivate awareness means you must learn to stop, to pause, to look with open eyes. Most people live their days rushing from one task to another, drowning in noise, surrounded by distraction, never giving themselves a single moment of silence. And so they continue repeating what they have always done, unaware of the small decisions that are shaping their destiny. But when you become aware, even the smallest act can become a doorway into transformation. When you are aware of the way you breathe, you begin to realize how shallow your breath has been, and suddenly you understand why your mind feels restless. When you are aware of the way you walk, you begin to notice the tension you have been carrying in your body, and you see how it has been affecting your emotions. When you are aware of the way you speak, you begin to notice how often your words are born from anger, fear, or frustration rather than from clarity. Awareness is like a mirror. It reflects the truth of what is there without judgment. And when you look honestly into that mirror, you begin to see yourself as you are, not as you pretend to be, not as others expect you to be, but as you truly are in this moment. This is not always comfortable, because awareness exposes the things you would rather hide. It shows you your weaknesses, your excuses, your self-deception. But do not run from this mirror. To run from awareness is to run from freedom itself. You cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. The courage to be aware is the courage to face yourself without masks. And when you face yourself honestly, you unlock the possibility of true change. Think about the moments in your life when you suddenly realized something that had been hidden from you for years. Maybe you realized that the person you were blaming for your unhappiness was not the true cause, but rather your own unwillingness to let go. Maybe you realized that the opportunity you were waiting for was always within your reach, but fear had blinded you. Maybe you realized that the anger you carried toward others was actually anger toward yourself. These realizations may come suddenly, like lightning, or slowly, like the sunrise. But when they come, your entire perspective shifts. This is the power of awareness. Without awareness, even wisdom cannot help you. Imagine a man sitting in a locked room, but the door has never been locked. It only needs to be pushed open. He can spend his entire life asking for help, complaining about his imprisonment, waiting for someone to rescue him. But until he becomes aware that the door was always open, nothing will change. Life is full of doors like this. Awareness is the key that shows you which doors were never locked in the first place. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be a prison. Many people are trapped not by the world outside, but by the stories they tell themselves. I am not ready. It is too late. I cannot do this. These stories repeat again and again, and because they are unconscious, they are accepted as truth. But the moment you become aware, you begin to question them. Who said you are not ready? Who told you it is too late? Who convinced you that you cannot? These are not truths. They are only thoughts. And awareness is what allows you to see that thoughts are just clouds passing through the sky of your mind. You are not the cloud. You are the sky. Awareness is also the root of gratitude. Without awareness, you take life for granted. You walk past beauty without seeing it. You eat food without tasting it. You breathe air without feeling it. But when awareness deepens, you begin to notice the miracle in the ordinary. The sunlight on your skin, the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your heartbeat. These are no longer overlooked. They become sacred. Gratitude flows naturally when awareness is alive, and gratitude itself transforms your energy, shifting you from scarcity to abundance, from complaint to appreciation. In the martial path, awareness is not optional. When you train your body, you must be fully present. If your awareness drifts for even a second, the movement becomes empty. In combat, lack of awareness is dangerous. It can cost you the fight. But in life, lack of awareness is even more dangerous. It can cost you your years. One mistake in training may bruise the body, but living unconsciously can waste a lifetime. So cultivate awareness in the same way a warrior cultivates vigilance. Be awake, be present, be conscious in each step you take. Awareness does not mean overthinking. To be aware is not to analyze everything endlessly. It is to see without distortion. When you are eating, just eat. When you are walking, just walk. When you are listening, just listen. This simplicity is the highest awareness. It is a return to the direct experience of life. The mind always wants to complicate, to label, to judge. But awareness is not about judgment. It is about clarity. It is not about creating stories. It is about seeing reality as it is. Some will say, I do not have time to practice awareness. But awareness is not something you add to your schedule. It is not another task to complete. It is the way you approach what you are already doing. When you drink water, be aware of the taste. When you speak to a friend, be aware of your words. When you feel anger, be aware of the fire rising inside you instead of letting it control you. In this way, awareness is not separate from life. It is life lived fully. And why do I say awareness is the beginning of transformation? Because once you are aware, you can no longer remain the same. Awareness is like light. Once it enters a dark room, the darkness cannot remain as it was. You may resist, you may hesitate, you may try to ignore it, but once you are aware, you cannot go back to ignorance. The door to growth has been opened, and whether you step through or not, you will never again believe the door does not exist. This is why awareness is so powerful. So if you are hearing this message now, before the 23rd of September, understand what it means. It is a call to awaken your awareness. It is a reminder that time is moving, but you must not move unconsciously with it. Days will pass, months will pass, years will pass, but without awareness, you may wake up one day and realize that your life has passed while you were asleep. Do not allow this. Every sunrise is a gift, every moment an opportunity, and awareness is the way you claim it. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe deeply. Feel the air enter your lungs, feel your chest rise and fall, feel the rhythm of your heart. This is awareness. Simple yet profound. Now imagine living every moment with this level of presence, walking, speaking, working, loving, all infused with awareness. How different would your life be? How many mistakes would you avoid? How much more beauty would you see? How much deeper would your connections become? Awareness is the seed. Discipline, struggle, and choice are the soil, the rain, and the sunlight. But without the seed, nothing grows. This is why it must always begin here. Congratulations to you, because the very fact that you are listening to these words means the seed of awareness is already within you. Nurture it. Do not ignore it. Let it grow into the tree that will bear the fruits of your transformation. And so, remember this truth: the greatest tragedy is not failure, but living without awareness. The greatest waste is not losing time, but spending it unconsciously. The greatest blindness is not of the eyes, but of the spirit that refuses to see. Open your eyes now. Become aware. This is the beginning of your new path. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not something to fear, to avoid, or to reject. It is not a cage that restricts you. It is the key that unlocks your true potential. Too many people misunderstand discipline and see it as something harsh, something that takes away freedom, something that steals joy from life. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Discipline is the very thing that sets you free. Without discipline, you are chained to your habits, chained to your distractions, chained to the impulses that pull you in 1,000 directions. With discipline, you break those chains. With discipline, you become the master of your time, the master of your body, the master of your mind. Think about it. Without discipline, you might say you want to change, but every morning you will press the alarm clock and fall back asleep. You might say you want health, but every evening you will choose the comfort of the couch over the challenge of movement. You might say you want success, but every day you will choose the distraction of scrolling over the effort of creating. Without discipline, your words are empty. Your dreams remain dreams, and your potential never becomes reality. It is not lack of talent that holds most people back. It is lack of discipline. Talent without discipline is wasted. Vision without discipline is just imagination. Discipline means making a promise to yourself and keeping it even when it is hard. Especially when it is hard. Discipline means doing what is right instead of what is easy. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. And it means understanding that every small action, repeated again and again, is what shapes your destiny. Just as a single drop of water falling on the rock will do nothing, but repeated drops over years will carve even the hardest stone, so too does discipline shape your life. Not with one grand action, but with steady, repeated effort. Many people wait for motivation to arrive before they take action. They say, "I will work when I feel inspired. I will train when I feel strong. I will study when I feel ready." But motivation is like the wind. It comes and goes, and it cannot be trusted. If you build your life on motivation, you will live inconsistently, sometimes rising, often falling, always depending on a feeling that is never stable. But discipline is different. Discipline is the anchor that holds you steady even when the winds of emotion are blowing wildly. Discipline does not ask, "Do I feel like it?" Discipline says, "I do it because I decided to." But this is the secret. Discipline is not about feelings. Discipline is about decisions. It is about aligning your actions with your higher self, not with your passing moods. You may feel tired, but discipline reminds you of your purpose. You may feel afraid, but discipline reminds you of your strength. You may feel lazy, but discipline reminds you of your responsibility. Feelings are temporary, discipline is permanent. And if you can live by discipline instead of by feeling, you will rise above the majority of people who remain trapped in cycles of inconsistency. When you look at a master of any art, whether it is martial arts, music, athletics, or leadership, what you are really seeing is the result of discipline. Behind every effortless performance is countless hours of repetition, practice, and sacrifice. Behind every moment of mastery is a lifetime of discipline. And yet, most people only see the glory, the applause, the result. They do not see the mornings when the master woke before dawn to train. They do not see the evenings when he stayed behind to refine one more movement. They do not see the pain, the fatigue, the struggle. They only see the flower, not the roots. But it is the roots of discipline that make the flower possible. Discipline is not glamorous. Discipline is not always exciting. In fact, discipline is often boring. It is showing up again and again, even when progress feels invisible. It is doing the same practice 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times until it becomes part of you. Discipline is patience with the process. And this patience is where true growth happens. Most people quit because they mistake repetition for stagnation. They think, I have done this so many times, but nothing is changing. What they do not see is that every repetition is carving a deeper channel inside of them. Every day of discipline is another thread in the fabric of their strength. And one day, suddenly, all those invisible threads become visible as transformation. There is a saying, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your discipline. Everyone has goals. Everyone has dreams. But goals are meaningless without the structure of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and realization. It is the force that carries you across the gap between wanting and achieving. And without it, you remain standing on the shore of your dreams, never crossing to the other side. Discipline is also respect. It is respect for yourself. When you set a standard for yourself and keep it, you are telling yourself, I am worthy of trust. I am someone who can depend on myself. And this builds self-confidence like nothing else. Too often, people break promises to themselves and then wonder why they feel weak. They say they will start tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and they make another excuse. Every broken promise weakens the bond you have with yourself. But every time you follow through, no matter how small the action, you strengthen that bond. You begin to believe in yourself, not because of empty affirmations, but because you have evidence that you do what you say. That is self-respect. That is the foundation of inner power. Of course, discipline is not always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. Discipline asks you to leave the comfort zone, to face resistance, to endure struggle. But what is comfort really? Comfort is the slow death of your potential. Comfort lulls you into mediocrity, whispering that it is safer to stay where you are. Discipline, on the other hand, wakes you up. It pushes you into discomfort not to punish you, but to grow you. A muscle that is never challenged never grows. A mind that is never stretched never expands. A soul that is never tested never strengthens. Discipline is the weight you lift for your character. Without it, you remain weak. With it, you build unshakable strength. Ask yourself, what is freedom? Many people think freedom means doing whatever you want whenever you want. But look closer. If you are controlled by cravings, by laziness, by distraction, is that freedom? If you cannot resist your impulses, if you cannot direct your own mind, you are not free. You are a slave to your habits. True freedom comes through discipline. When you can say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you, when you can master your body, your time, and your mind, then you are free. Discipline is the path to that freedom. Look at nature. The tree does not grow tall by chance. It grows because it consistently reaches for the light every day, no matter the weather. The river does not carve the valley in one moment. It carves it drop by drop, year after year, with persistence. The seasons do not come in chaos. They follow a rhythm, a discipline of nature itself. All of creation moves with discipline, and it is this discipline that creates balance, growth, and harmony. Why then should your life be any different? To align with the flow of life is to live with discipline. When you practice discipline, you are not only shaping your future, you are also shaping your present. Every disciplined action creates energy, focus, and clarity. You feel stronger because you are no longer at war with yourself. In discipline is inner conflict. Discipline is inner harmony. in discipline.